Well, hello and welcome. My name is Martin Lopez, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Hayden. He's the author of Conscious Choosing for Flow, Transforming Conflict into Creativity, and we have a great webinar for you today. Today's webinar is called The Power of Choice. So let's get into it, and please help me to welcome Hayden.
Hey, Martine, good seeing you.
You
Wonderful
bet.
doing these with you. Yep, I look forward to this. I think the power of choice is one area that we create our lives. We choose to do something or we choose not to, and that has a far reaching effect in our life and the type of life we live. So I look forward to this conversation. Thanks.
Yeah, so what are the things that we choose every day in life? What are some of those things that you notice people are they're choosing or they're having a challenge making those choices on?
One of the things that I come across a lot in my executive coaching is people choose not to address challenges with coworkers because they're afraid of the interaction that their coworker is going to have. And it's been so negative in the past, they just go, I'm not going to address it with them. I'm going to go to work, put my head down, persevere, and I'm not going to address this challenge with a coworker. Look at the far reaching effects of that. I'm not addressing a challenge with you, my coworker, and I'm putting my head down. It dumbs me down in my work, and I'm not uh, living the life that I really want, which is a good, fun, or and enjoyable work area. Right now, I'm putting my head down. So that choice has far-reaching effects on the type of environment we work in.
Yeah, in the regressive cycle, we talk about being stuck in the ditch and repeating our past difficulties. Is that what you're talking about?
That's exactly, and we're stalled out with future challenges because if I don't like working with you and there's a challenge, I'm not going to address the future with you because I don't like talking to you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the regressive cycle for sure. Stalled out with past difficulties and challenged with future challenges because we're just not talking and we're choosing not to do it. We're choosing to avoid rather than to speak up and let it be known and address it in a way that works for both of us and get in flow with each other.
So oftentimes it's about rocking the boat or not rocking the boat. That's what you're saying, I hear.
Yeah, that we're making a choice. No, I'm not going to rock the boat. I'm not going to bring that up. Oh no, not me. Well, the fear of the reaction is one reason people choose not to. But I think the other thing that's even more important is we just don't know how to bring up difficult conversations with others so we have positive results at the end of that conversation. We don't know how to do it, so we don't have the skills and abilities and awareness on how to do it. So we just keep our mouth shut. We go to silence rather than to speak up.
Or or,
So
or we
it's
run or
something
we
that
fight.
we're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, what you
Sorry to
say?
interrupt you, but the other ways we do is we fight, and we fight or we just run and take off and ignore it completely, right?
Exactly. The fight or flight. Hey, I'm not putting up with this, and you create more of a fight by the way you present it than if you just kept your mouth shut. So people tend to fight for it. It didn't work, so they shut up and they go back, and there's this downward spiral, if you will, of getting results because we don't know how to present it and it doesn't work. We shut up, so it's a challenge. And so part of the choice has to do with learning the right skills so you can present it in a way that people don't get offended. You're not starting a fight.
Hmm.
And, we talked about the power of curiosity.
Yeah, yeah.
Most people go when there's a challenge and they place a judgment on someone else. That judgment creates defensiveness in the other person, and you've just started a fight.
Yeah.
Rather than making a statement, a judgment, blame, or complain, ask a question. So if you're not having a good working relationship, you can go and go, we're not working well together, and I'm really sick and tired of it.
Yeah, it's your
You know,
fault.
Whoa, we just started a fight.
Sure.
But what if we went and go, I'd like to have a better working relationship with you. What do you need from me in order for that to happen? There's respect and safety in that question because you've stated your good intentions up front. I want to have a good working relationship with you. What do you need from me in order for that to happen? Not, I want to have a good working relationship. What you need to do is, that's
Yeah.
a statement.
Yeah.
Ask a question. What do you need in order for us to have a good working relationship? That question, that curiosity, keeps it safe, respectful, and now we can enter into dialogue and not have those challenging, backlashes from our statements and judgments of others.
Well, it's like we're pushing and pulling against each other. Like who's stronger? Who can, when someone's pushing up against you, for some reason we just naturally push back. It's just a natural way that we do things.
Absolutely. If you're challenging my idea, I'm going to get defensive because my idea is kind of like my survival. It's my brain, it's my idea, it's my survival mechanism to push back.
Yeah.
If we're curious and we ask questions, there's nothing to push back about. We're drawing information out, and that's a way to present difficult situation with others in a way that's safe and respectful. So I think this might be a good place to do our exercise around choice.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now.
Uh-huh. So the power of choice, we bring people in the training through this exercise, and we ask people, identify some things you do in your life that you've lost a sense of enjoyment, you don't really like doing, but you do it anyhow. One of the examples we bring up is filing and paying taxes.
Yeah,
People don't really like doing it, but they do it anyhow, you know? So write down a few of those. What do you do? Like mow the lawn, do the dishes, cook dinner, do the laundry.
Yeah.
Some of the things that you really don't like doing, but you do anyhow. We ask people to write those down.
Hmm.
Can you think of something you do that you don't really like doing?
Sometimes it's making phone calls. Sometimes I have a group of people that I call every week, about 25 people, the same people, and sometimes I don't feel like calling those people. So I was like, I'm just not in the mood to do that.
Uh-huh. So that would be a really good one, Make these phone calls to these 25 people every week. Okay. The next part of this exercise is you are getting something out of calling those people. What is it?
Uh,
For filing and paying taxes, what need it's providing for me is I stay out of jail, I'm contributing to my community, I'm being a responsible citizen. So those are the needs it provides for me,
yes.
especially the one about staying out of jail.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I recommend that
Stay
one.
focused. I'm going to file and pay my taxes. So what need of yours is met by calling those 25 people each week?
Well, I'm looking at my needs list here in my iPad, and there's so many needs. I think one of the needs is to stay connected. Staying
Uh-huh.
connected with the different people that I do business with, that's important. Um, God, there's so many. Being competent. I feel like when I call people every week, I feel competent that they know that I'm working in structures, that they can count on me, and that
Uh-huh.
they have confidence in me.
And I'd say to be understood and to understand them, that happens in a phone call.
Absolutely.
That's an important need. So when you get in touch with the need it provides for you, now you can change this phrase, I have to call these 25 people, to I choose to call these 25 people because it meets my need to be understood and to understand them, for them to understand that I'm competent and
Yeah.
I operate effectively every week. These are important. And if you can change it from I have to I choose to, it does something inside of you, like it lowers your stress level. It's not this victim villain relationship, like I have to call him, that's the villain forcing me to do it, so I have to, and I'm the victim. It gets
Yeah.
rid of that.
Absolutely. I see
Now
that.
I'm coming from a place of choice, and I'm taking back my personal power. I think that's important.
Wow. Now, let's take that to like an executive level, like an executive working with with their team, and thinking that their only choice is to be dominant to them.
Yeah, that's that's a choice. And what's the far-reaching result with their team? Is their team going to resent it?
Yeah.
Is their team going to push back? Don't dominate me. I have my own awareness and thoughts and feelings, and you're ignoring them. So, one of the choice that the team can have is, do I speak up to this boss or do I keep shut?
Yeah,
Keep my mouth shut. But that's a choice. The executive may want to dominate, and that's his choice, but unless he gets feedback from others, he doesn't know how it's landing on them and whether it's effective or not. So I think opening up the dialogue, how's this working? Is it working for you or not? If we can get to, hey, this works for you and it works for me too, we're in flow.
absolutely.
So and it starts with conversation. Let's address it. Let's get it out there and have the conversation, whether it's working for you or not.
Absolutely, it's that awareness. I use that executive idea just because I was thinking of to liken it to a family dynamic. Me and my kids.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I tell them what to do. Yesterday, my son his job was to wash both cars, and he said he was going to do it at a certain time, and it was 1 o'clock. He said he was going to start at 2. And I was a little antsy. It was his choice, but I wanted to be in charge because I wanted it done because there were some other things we had to do. And he said, Dad, I got it. Dad, I got it. And I was a little pushy, but his feedback and my awareness allowed me to make a choice to not, pull rank, if you will.
Uh-huh. Well, that's a great example, and I'm sure your son appreciated it. The little feedback. I got it, Dad. I got it. And you took him at his word. How did it work for your son?
It worked really good. He did a really great job washing the cars. He looked like he was having fun. He had some of his friends come over, and they were just kind of talking and listening to music. He was washing the car, and then he ended up coming up with some other ideas, something else to do, and it really turned his day around. And because he had a tough day, he went and played some basketball, didn't do as good as he'd like to do, so he was having a tough time. So he was really able to turn it around, and I think that me not getting on him, not pushing him, allowed him to have the freedom to really work through what he needed to work through to do a good job, cleaning the cars. I got in my car this morning, came to work, and the car was clean. It looked really good, and I think that it was me. Had I pushed him, had I forced him to do it at 1 o'clock, he probably wouldn't have done as good of a job, and probably the rest of his day and our interactions probably wouldn't have been that good. That's just the
Uh,
past. That's just seeing what happened in the past.
well, that's a good working relationship. There was respect and safety there. You
Absolutely.
know, for your son and for you. You're a little worried a little bit, but you got through it, and it worked for your son and his friends there that you didn't get out there and start pressuring him.
Yeah,
Good for you.
that's really interesting. You say worry, and I said worry, and then you reiterated it. I think a lot of times the executives are trying to suppress their worry. It's a strategy for their worry to get on somebody. I'm not worried this isn't going to happen. I'm not going to look good or whatever that need is. And so what their strategy is to push, to yell, to scream, to force.
So they micromanage rather than trusting, letting trust build up between them and their direct reports. This power of choice is, I said it's one way we create our lives is to choose things that are going to benefit us and those around us.
Yeah.
We already talked about the power of curiosity. And it's our choice whether we're curious and we ask questions, or it's our choice whether we judge, blame, or complain about others. One's going to create defensiveness, the judging, blaming, or complaining. The other, curiosity, pulls it from people. What's going on? Tell me, like you did with your son. What's going on? You got this. It's our choice whether we use curiosity or we start micromanaging and judging, and one's going to have one effect, the other's going to have a different effect. I think choosing to use curiosity is the best way we can operate as human beings with others.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
With that, we have a choice to have a long webinar, or we have a choice to have a shorter webinar. We made the choice, the conscious choice, to make our webinar shorter so that people would enjoy them a little bit more and we wouldn't just keep going and going.
It's absolutely. We have an agreement, 15, 20 minutes. That's our choice. And I hope people got something out of this exercise for choice, fulfilling a need of ours and to choose to use curiosity rather than to judge, blame, and complain about others. Find out what's happening and get in that dialogue.
That's terrific. Well, Conscious Choosing for Flow is a great program. It's designed for corporations, organizations, and it's just applicable in so many different areas. Wouldn't you agree?
I just talked to an affiliate this morning, and she's working with a company. She goes, I don't want to say one thing fits all. She said, but conscious choosing for flow is going to address your disconnection, going to address your challenges, not getting results. She's bringing this company through it in the next week. She said, it's going to really make a big difference in how you relate to each other and how you get results. So, I think it is, but people need to experience it to know for the sure for themselves,
Absolutely. And one way they can experience it is by an executive brief. You do executive briefings. What is an executive briefing? How long do they typically last if someone was to call you for one?
I can do executive briefing in person. I'm going to Columbus to meet with a company in Columbus this week. And executive briefing usually lasts an hour and a half. I do presenting. I share some things around the training, do a PowerPoint, multimedia presentation for about 30 to 40 minutes. And then we have open conversation. We can work through some challenges. Sometimes there's a challenge that's been going on for years. I say, well, let's use the skills here, and we'll address this challenge, and in 20 minutes we'll have a solution. And people roll their eyes. Yeah, right. And some of them express a challenge that's going on for 4 or 5 years. And we say, often the worst disagreements occur when both parties think they're right and probably think you're right. So the reason is people have legitimate needs that have not been acknowledged or addressed. We're going to acknowledge them, and we're going to address them, and we'll create a solution by focusing on needs first. And once they experience it, they go, this is very powerful.
Yeah, versus pick the winner of that argument, right?
Say that doesn't work. Yeah. One person loses, that's a win-lose situation. Let's have both people win by having their needs addressed. And it's not that difficult, but you need to know how to do it.
Absolutely. So that's an executive brief. In order to do an executive brief, I'm going to put the information right here on the webinar so you know how to get a hold of us, and we'll go from there. So another way to connect with us, and we really would love for you guys to connect with us, is via LinkedIn, via Twitter, and via Facebook. Our Facebook handle is Facebook.com/conscious choosing. Our Twitter handle is cchoosing, and LinkedIn, you can find us at Conscious Choosing or Hayden, and we'd love to connect with you. So please interact with us and read our articles and let us know what you think. We're looking forward to making a big difference in the world.
Yeah, and sign up for our newsletter. We cover these topics like we do on the webinars. The webinar and newsletters are intertwined. We talk about the same topics. So, sign up for our newsletter.
Terrific. Well, thank you very much, Hayden. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
As always, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you, Martine. See you later.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.